Hello, and welcome to the Scott Mize Show, a podcast focused on body and hormone optimization and improvement for anyone who's looking to get jacked, build muscle, lose fat, improve their hormones, feel better, or improve their health. Here, I interview experts in lab work, hormones, bodybuilding, coaches, bodybuilders, and everyday people and senior executives who have improved their hormones and improved their body. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Anything you hear should not be taken as medical advice. Please consult with your physician before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or supplementation protocols. This podcast is brought to you by Element Electrolytes. Element Lemonade is finally here. It's great for a hot summer day, workout, or just enjoying with a cold beverage at your desk. Check it out and get your free sample pack of their favorite flavors, along with any regular purchase when you use my custom link, which is drinklmnt.com/Scott Mize. The sample pack is great for anyone who's interested in trying their most popular flavors, or anyone who wants to introduce a friend to Element. Go to drinklmnt.com/Scott Mize to claim this awesome deal. Now on to the show. This podcast is brought to you by BioLongevity Labs for all your peptide and bioregulator needs, including retatrutide, aka GLP-3, MOTS-C, 5-amino-1-MQ, BPC-157 and TB500 for tissue and joint recovery and healing, as well as digestion, and much, much more. Head to biolongevitylabs.com and use code SCOTTM, that's Scott M, all one word, to save and support the show. Thank you. All right, Chelsea Fell is an IFBB Wellness Pro based in Michigan, known for her relentless drive, down-to-earth coaching style, and deep dedication to helping others transform their bodies and their confidence. After years of grinding at the national level, Chelsea earned her pro card at the NPC Universe in July 2025 in Teaneck, New Jersey, taking home first in her class under the guidance of her coach, Mike Nassif, a previous guest of the show. Beyond the stage, Chelsea wears many hats. She's a lifestyle and competition prep coach, a muscle building, fat loss, and sustainable health advocate. Whether you're chasing the best version of you or the goal to get on stage, Chelsea helps clients get strong, lean, and mentally locked in without sacrificing their sanity. And when she's not lifting or coaching, you'll find her surrounded by her 2 dogs, her cat Walter, and a flock of chickens and ducks that she posts on Instagram. Welcome to the show, Chelsea.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Really excited to chat with you. You had a phenomenal season, looked great. But I want to wind back the clock a little bit and get to know you from your background and growing up. Can you start there and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for as long as I can remember, I've always been super competitive. My parents had me in T-ball when I was 4 or 5 years old, right? My mom put me in all the different dance classes, ballet, tap, baton, everything. So ever since then, I've been extremely competitive, and that till this day, still very competitive, right? So, I would say my background is all about being competitive, but at the end of the day, it's not just who I'm up against. It's being competitive against myself as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. It definitely comes through. And what got you into lifting for the first time?
Actually, she's my massage therapist, but I went to high school with her, and she actually was working under Dom Kuza, and I was like, okay, she's doing something, because she looks great, right? Like, she's had 2 kids, she looks great. So I ended up reaching out to Dom, and it was August of 2019, and I was like, hey, I'm interested in your coaching. Like, I've seen other people live, breathe, have the results, and I started working with him. I think it was like end of August, and we hit the ground running from there. So again, I thrive off results. So knowing that somebody else could do it, I was like, all right, here's the competitor in me. Like, what can I do? And ever since then, it's evolved to where I'm at today.
That's very cool. Yeah, Dom's my coach. I've been with him for over a year, and I'm always jealous of people who got to know him or started working with him way before he kind of blew up, especially people from Michigan, it seems like.
Yeah.
And why did you do... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, It's funny you say that because I have my like credenza drawer behind me of a bunch of different files and whatnot, and I have a Dom Kuza folder, and his very first meal plan that he wrote out, it's literally like printed out on paper. It's crazy how things have changed from where he started and where I started to where we're at today.
That's so cool. I'd love to see that. And what made you decide to compete? Was that the goal right when you signed up with Dom, or did that evolve?
That evolved as well. So when I first started with him, I was strictly just a lifestyle client, right? Like I wasn't happy with what I looked like in the mirror, and I was like, hey, something's got to give. Like I'm doing the Thrive patches and the Herbalife. Like I've tried all of the, the odds and ends that we know don't actually work, right? So um, reached out to him just as a lifestyle client, and honestly, I would say probably 6-ish months, if that, in was getting results. I was getting shredded. I kept looking. I'm like, I got a six pack. Like I've never seen this before, and like nonchalant just messaged Dom and was like, dude, do you think I can compete? And he's like, fuck yeah. Like, let's do it. Because he knew that I had the potential and he's believed in me from the beginning. And from there, we kind of went into like a mini cut to see what we had. We went back into like a reverse or like a growth phase. And then I'll take you into my first show.
Yeah. Great.
It actually was during COVID. So as crazy as it was, so I started with him in 2019, right? As we know, COVID came around 2020, and my show was outside. They had shut down all of the gyms, so I was grasping at straws, like, what can I do in my basement? We literally turned my basement into like a mini gym. We set up a squat rack. I had a couple different benches that I found on Facebook Marketplace at astronomical prices during the time.
Yeah.
And we were able to get me to a good physique, but it was just crazy to like have to go from working out at a gym to literally doing everything in my basement. And yeah, you had to wear a mask, which was crazy, like when you were doing check-ins and things like that.
Wow.
And then yeah, the stage was literally in a parking lot, which was crazy. It was the wildest experience for my first show. Like even for Dom, like that was his first time having that kind of setup, and everybody was sweating their tans off because it was literally in the midst of summer. And I think it was, I want to say it was in June or July of 2020. Yeah, like hot for Michigan, and a stage outside and everybody's baking in the sun, and it was crazy. But at that point in time, I ended up doing bikini and wellness because that's when wellness first came to the US, right? So it was brand new territory, so we didn't know at that point in time, especially with being my first, show, my first regional show at that, like where I was going to fit best. And so doing bikini and wellness, after we got judges' feedback, they were kind of like, you could shrink down and fit the bikini criteria, or you can evolve with wellness and grow into that. And I was like, I don't want to shrink down and fit in a little box. Like I want to see what I can maximize for my true potential. So from there is where we grew into wellness.
Cool. Yeah, that must have been crazy. I can't imagine just like the sun being the lighting for the show.
It was wild. Everybody was literally sweating their tans off, and I'm like, is this how it goes? And Dom's like, not typically, no.
Yeah. And how did you evolve from there to competing at your first national show? What was the journey like?
Yes. Yeah, so we got our feedback. That was, like I said, like summer of 2020. And then we ended up, so I'm sure as you know with Dom, because you just did North Americans, right?
Yep.
Yeah, as you know with Dom and Mike and, Camp Jansen coaches in general, they don't go for the little guys. They want the biggest shows that we can go in, right? So Dom was like, we're doing North Americans 2021. So I was like, all right, sweet. We literally had, a good year to build and kind of go through the peaks and waves, and we ended up going through my prep. Everything went exactly as we wanted. We got in for North Americans, first national show, and ended up getting 5th place, which at that show at that time was awesome. Yeah, I was the only American in that top 5. I think the top 3 were Brazilian and Mexican, which great, right? Like it was a stacked class, and to be top 5 at my first show in a new category I was through the roof, Dom was excited. My boyfriend was excited. Like, that was huge for me, right? For my first national
Yeah,
show. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's really cool. That's like the Olympia with the Brazilians just dominating the class.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the same feedback that I've gotten from the regional show to North Americans to pretty much all of the national shows that I've done was more size, more size, more size. And that's what we've continued to do, year over year from that point on.
Okay. And when did you link up with Mike Nassif?
Yeah, so 21 was North Americans, 22 was USA's, 23 was um, nationals, right? So it was top five, third. It was like, all right, by the skin of my teeth, right? Like, we're there. Yeah, and so end of 23, Dom transitioned me over to Mike, which I had the choice, right? Like, I could go with Mike, I could go with any coach. I did my due diligence, had a couple different calls with a couple different other coaches that I had in mind, and same thing, had my call with Mike, and I was like, dude, you're literally a mini Dom. Like, he is, if you can copy and paste Dom, Mike is a Dom. And as crazy as it is, I didn't even align 2 and 2 when I first started working with Mike at the end of 23, is Mike actually overseen my USA's prep in 22.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I was one of, so as Mike was mentoring with Dom, I was one of his first preps that he got to like sit through and see in, and he joined like the WhatsApp and all of that. I never intertwined that, and I was like, oh my God, light bulb. Like, you literally got to see one of my preps, see it through, see how it works, and then here we are working together,
Perfect.
2 years later. So yeah, it's crazy how things kind of aligned. But I have nothing but good things to say about him. He's amazing.
Yeah. And just for context for people, I think at the time it was Dom basically offloaded a bunch of his women. He decided he was going to focus on working with men.
Yeah, he offloaded his bikini girls and his wellness girls. I think he has one master's bikini, one or two. She just competed. Actually, she did Universe with me as well. But and then I think he has a couple of women's physique competitors, but his women competitor bucket is very small. So he kind of gave us all the option of like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore, and he just hadn't had the capacity, and he was honest with us, right? Which was great. I still talk to Dom. I actually was just messaging him before this because I'm in his Blueprint school. But he has just kind of transitioned to Blueprint and Revive and Camp Jansen, and was like, I'm not up with everything changing in bikini and wellness, and it's almost a disservice to you guys. So he wanted what was, best for us, and it's worked out great thus far, as you can see.
Yeah. It's very, very tough and mature decision on his part, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And what do you like about working with Mike, and what are some of the biggest things he's taught you?
Yeah. Gosh, the list goes on. I could put Mike on a little pedestal right now, but I mean, just transitioning from Dom to him, it was very smooth, right? Like, he laid out what he's looking for in a client. I kind of laid out what I was looking for in a coach. One of the biggest things, especially as being a female, and you can only compete for so long, right, as far as health goes. And he is very keen, very big on prioritizing your health, your femininity, making sure that, the longevity of things is where it needs to be, and made sure that we were on the same page with all of that. And that's big. Health, I'm big on health. I'm a big advocate. So for him to prioritize that, we've gotten blood work more times than I can count with him, which is great. He's very honest. He's very direct. No bullshit. He's not going to sugarcoat things. I mean, there was a point where I checked in one day, and it was during one of my preps and for my regional show, and he's like, these photos are ass. Like, I need you to retake them. He's like, stop speeding through your stuff. Like, he's very direct, but in a good way. And I can appreciate him for that. And yeah, I would say just prioritizing health, being honest, and any questions that I have, he will give me a response, and a detailed response. He doesn't just kind of brush things under the rug. And I can't say that for a lot of coaches that I've seen in the industry, where you don't feel like you're just another number. Like, you feel prioritized, whether you're his first client or his 50th client. So lots of
Yeah.
very good things to say about him.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was actually in the hotel room when I was at North Americans, posing for Dom, checking in with Dom, and
Yeah.
it was great. I got to see him like prepping JD, getting him on the stage. His client who won Classic and got his pro card, and he's a great guy. I've talked to him a lot and have a ton of respect for him and his
Yeah.
approach. Talk about training because from what I can see, you train very hard. But how do you like to train? What's your approach to training? And get into that.
Yeah. So I train alone. I know there's a lot of, mixed reviews about, having a training partner or training with somebody, but for me, I have found that the second I put my headphones in and I'm done, stretching and kind of warming up, it's blinders are on. It's like everything goes dark outside of what my next movement is going to be. I'm very keen on, training till failure as best I can. And a lot of people will say, I train till failure, and you'll say that like a broken record. But I will have Mike attest that I do train hard. I take a lot of training videos and will send them to him to make sure that, I'm on my P's and Q's. And sometimes Mike will be like, dude, you totally had, a couple more reps in the tank. That wasn't till failure. And it's like, okay, back to the drawing board. I'll do it again. Send him a video again. I'm only doing legs. I did not train upper body. So after nationals in 23, one of the feedback markers was no more size on your upper body. If anything, you could bring it down. And that came straight from Tyler, right?
Okay.
So we literally did not train upper the end of 23, not a single time in 24. The beginning of 25, we didn't do. And then as I was really starting to lean out, Mike was like, all right, dude, we need to get a little bit of a pump in your upper body to really have your shoulders kind of give you that taper. So we were just doing I think we had like 3 or 4 light shoulder and tricep movements. That was it. And that was literally like the last 3-ish weeks of my prep for my regional show because I had to requalify.
Wow.
Yeah. And so other than that, it was literally legs every other day. And usually I'll do like a glute and hamstring day, and then like a quad and glute day, and then just every other day go from there. I implemented a lot of recovery this last season that I wasn't doing prior to. So I was consistent with getting massages once a month. I was consistent with, which I haven't been doing because of the summer, but cold plunging. If you've seen me post about that, I was literally breaking ice in my pod in the middle of Michigan winter.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to, well, still am, going to a chiropractor. He works on my feet a lot, does a lot of just movements to make sure that we're up and running, doing hot therapy in the saunas, doing dry needling, and then also doing cupping. So I think,
Wow.
if I'm being completely honest, implementing all of these additional recovery methods was a huge game changer for me this year with being able to train legs as frequent as I was and as hard as I was to get the muscle mass that I was able to put on in the last year.
That's really interesting. Do you like all those things? Like, is there any of it you like have anxiety about, like the cold plunge or anything?
Oh,
Or
I
you learn from
swear
it?
to you, I love the way I feel after, but it never gets old, whether it was my first cold plunge or my 50th cold plunge. It's that initial hyping yourself up to get
Yeah.
into the 30 below water. That first like dip in there, it's the same every single time. Like I have to give myself a little pep talk. And then once you're in, it's like everything just goes quiet. And then you
Yeah.
can just, it's great. If you've never done it, I highly recommend it. I try to put all my people on it, but the way you feel after and the mental clarity that you have after sitting in that water is just, it's great. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a strange euphoria. Um, but yeah, I don't think you can not be present when you're in a cold plunge.
Yeah, I have to use my timer too to make sure that I'm not in there too long because I don't want to be
Okay.
losing fingers and toes.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
And transitioning to this prep, talk about just from the start, Like, what was your mentality going in, your goals, your expectations? When did it begin?
I actually, Mike actually made a post about this where we didn't really have like a, hey, this is when we're starting prep. Because I'm a creature of habit, and I didn't really have, from a nutritional box checking perspective, I didn't really have like an off season. I lived in my meal prep containers. I ate the same things every single day. It was just higher volumes. So as far as a start date, I want to say, I think we did like a 20-ish per se week prep where we actually started to pull back on food, increase cardio, things like that. But going into it, I mean, blood work was great. Headspace was great. Financials were great. Like, everything was in a damn near perfect spot, right? So Mike was like, all right, we're pulling the trigger. And we had the regional show lined up because it was over a year since I had competed, so I had to requalify. But that was never like a focus. That was just, hey, we're going to go there, jump on stage, get the quick, qualification, and then, go on our way. And we had Universe as our, hey, we're going to target pro card. Worst case, it doesn't happen. We're going to then target USA's. Absolute worst case, that doesn't happen. We're gunning for North Americans. But Mike and I were like, this is a one and done. Like, Universe, we're doing it this time. So headspace was really good. Confidence was there, not cockiness, right? And basically anything that Mike said, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, I was all for it. So it went very smooth. Food got pretty low. I think like 1,100 calories, which
Wow.
Nothing crazy, because at one point I think in a previous prep it got like just over 1,000 calories. Cardio though got pretty high. This is the highest it's ever gotten for a prep, but we needed to get lean. And for me, with all my other preps, leaning out my glutes and kind of like my glute ham tie-in was usually the hardest part. We were able to accomplish that this year, which a huge, I think, game changer with that. Not only was it recovery, but I also came off of birth control. End of 23, beginning of 24, we came off of that, got my bloods corrected, which that was huge. I could go on about that and how like my blood markers prior to coming off versus being off, like how they completely transitioned. But yeah, no, this was a really good prep. This is probably my first prep where we didn't get to the issue where I wasn't getting lean enough. Where we ran into that previously, to where Dom was like, ethically and morally, I cannot take your food any lower. I cannot put your cardio any higher. We're just going to have to, push through. And that wasn't the case this year. So it was, I couldn't have asked for a better process and prep this go around.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to dig into that more, but since you mentioned it, if you wouldn't mind expanding on it, talk about coming off birth control. What was that like? And kind of how did it change some of your perceptions of it?
Yeah, so for as long as I don't even know how long I was on it prior to, but you don't know what you don't know, right? And at the time I had gone to my doctor and was like, I want little to no periods, and I want something that I could just do daily. So the birth control that she put me on was the worst of the three, because it was the dual hormonal. And I was like, sweet, right? Sign me up. Doctors are so quick to write the scripts. Little did I know it was wrecking my sex hormones, primarily wrecking my cortisol. So when Dom and I had pulled blood work, as we know, fasted cortisol, I want to say, I think it's like 12 to 14. Fasted is like perfect range.
Okay.
At one point, my cortisol was a 36.
Wow.
Fasted, yes. And Dom was like, oh my God, like we got to do something about this, right? Yeah. We brought in a lot of different supplements. We had brought in like a cortisol support. We had brought in magnesium glycinate. We had brought in different products like Sleep from Revive, just to kind of help put me at rest through the night to see how the morning would go the next day. We had brought in some stress management supplements, and I think the lowest we had gotten my cortisol was a 19, which is still high for fasted, right? Which that played part of the role as to why I wasn't getting lean enough, because birth control wasn't allowing for it. So when we came off of that, like I said, I think it was end of 23, maybe it was like January of 24. We waited a couple months, got blood work done again, and my blood work actually, or my cortisol actually was too low. I think it was like an 8 or a 9. So we brought in a couple different supplements to help bring it back up. And a couple months later, we had gotten blood work done, and it was, I think it was like a 12 or 13. And then just this past blood work that I got like a couple weeks into reverse, literally spot perfect. And I think it was a 13 or 14. And Mike was like, "This is wild." Nice. So, yeah, I'm a huge advocate for education on birth control, especially for a lot of my lifestyle clients. And we talk about anxiety and cravings and just menstruation and the different like PMS symptoms, and trying to educate them on healthier alternatives, because I'm living, breathing proof that birth control was literally just damaging my hormones. And coming off of it, everything has gone from either, elevated or plummeted to this last blood work was perfect. Literally perfect.
Wow. Do you think, or do you find with clients that people are using other things to mask some of those symptoms caused by cortisol dysregulation, like SSRIs or something else?
So I will reference, I don't want to reference the word, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but there's a juice going around. There's a popular juice going around that if you have these symptoms, which apparently there's cortisol face, there's the cortisol bloat, right? There's the cortisol blank, and it's like, okay, if you meet these symptoms, if you drink this juice, we're going to put your cortisol back in a normal or optimal range. And at the end of the day, you can't really decipher where your cortisol is without getting blood work. You can't just go off of symptoms, because those symptoms could be a root cause of something else, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that your cortisol is elevated or extremely low. And at the end of the day, if you go off these symptoms and you don't know which side of the spectrum your cortisol is on, you could be making it even lower or making it even higher, right? As we know, that's our stress hormone. So I hate the buzzwords. I hate the fun products that are going around with the influencers, because at the end of the day, the only way to know which side of the spectrum it's on or if it's optimal is by getting blood work and then kind of dictating what needs to happen from there. So yeah, I'm not about the juices or the gummies or the one-off supplements that are being promoted to sway your cortisol, when in reality, let's just get blood work, find the root cause, and do things a natural way.
Yeah. Messing with cortisol is really scary. I unfortunately, it's actually not the right standard of care, but most doctors still use it with asthma, prescribing prednisone to help alleviate symptoms. Prednisone basically like raises your cortisol artificially. The problem is when you come off prednisone, your cortisol crashes, and it crashes completely. So I did like 3 days of prednisone, and then found out from a pulmonologist who's more up to date on the research that like you're not supposed to use prednisone with asthmatics anymore if you can help it. And I had the worst crash. Like, I was just a complete slug. Like, I couldn't do anything. It was like I was falling asleep everywhere. It was miserable. So I can't imagine.
But then that, but then that triggers you to reach for other things, right? Then you're like, okay, I'm drinking a pot of coffee a day. I'm grabbing for the energy drinks, and we know what's in energy drinks, or maybe we don't know, right? And then that can cause your anxiety to go up, right? And then it's like you're basically taking your jug of water and you put a Band-Aid over the hole, but then all of a sudden it starts spewing out of 15 other holes. And it's like, if instead of creating more problems, we can get to the root cause, fix it, and then all the holes, dissipate. So yeah, I can only imagine like the peaks and waves you were going through.
Yeah, yeah, very well said. So going back to, I guess we'll pause on. I do want to get back to the prep and talk more about it, but since we're kind of down this road, can you talk a little bit more about your coaching, who you work with, what you like most about it?
Yeah, so I do work with both lifestyle and competition clients. I will say primarily I have more lifestyle clients than competition. My niche is more females. I have a couple of males, but I have a lot more females than male clients. And I would say primarily it's the busy working moms that don't have enough time in the day, or I would say clients that are just getting their feet wet and don't know where to start and need that guidance. Age-wise, it's a wide variety. I'd say anywhere from, I think my youngest is, say it like it's like my children. My youngest is, I want to say 19, and I think my oldest right now on my roster is like mid-50s.
Okay.
But I'd say majority is kind of in the middle of that. So
cool. And what do you like most about coaching?
I will take it back to me being competitive, and I know where I started when I first started working with Dom, and I didn't know what my max potential was, right? I was like, okay, I can follow a plan. I can check some boxes. And then I started seeing the results just by following the plan. And I just want to take everybody in the world and just work with everybody, because people don't realize how much potential they have when they actually commit to, working towards their goals. So I think for me is, one, I thrive off of not only my results, but my clients' results, but two, when I do their check-in, or if we hop on a Zoom call or just a phone call, or we're messaging back and forth, and I can literally like hear and see that aha moment, that educational piece. And if there's one thing that they can take away, something that they learned from working with me, then I feel like I've done my job.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. I can tell you're really passionate about it, and you care a lot about your people. And I'm sure results can mean a lot of different things for different types of people too, which is really cool. Yeah, I love helping personally people who are older, busy, don't really know what they're doing, have a lot of priorities, and to see like how the changes in themselves affect their family or their job or other aspects of their life is something I love to see.
Yeah, I think too, like my biggest thing with that is I've walked in the shoes, right? Like I've walked in the shoes as a client, currently am still, walked in the shoes as a competitor, I've walked in the shoes as a lifestyle client. So it's fun for me, because it's like I would never give my clients something and say, hey, go do this, if I've never done it, right? And if I know I can do it, they can do it. And if they throw the I'm too busy card, I told you I work a corporate job, I do coaching full time, I'm a bodybuilder, right? I have all my critters to tend to. Like, I'm a very busy person, and I literally time block every hour, every half hour on the hour to make sure that every task I have gets accomplished. So I think when people throw that at me, I love to give the sandwich effect of compliment, tough love, compliment. But at the end of the day, like, there's 24 hours in the day. It's what you do with those hours that can make or break you being successful.
Yep, well said. And talking about coaching, one thing you've talked about or wanted to talk about was cookie cutter programs and protocols from coaches. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Getting ready here. Yes. So when I onboard clients, right, we have a whole onboarding process that we do at Seymour Fitness. Because I'm not going to take any client off the street, and if we're not a good fit, we're not a good fit, right? I've had to fire clients before, and when it comes to coaching, there's the industry is well saturated, right? However, there's a lot of coaches in the industry that do things a little bit differently, right? And when it comes to the word or the phrase cookie cutter. It grinds my gears because there are coaches out there that will do the one size fits all, right? Doesn't matter if you're 110 pounds or you're 210 pounds, you're getting the same macros, you're getting the same workouts, you're getting the same check it, you're getting everything the same, right? And it's like, okay, well, at the end of the day, these people are completely different. Their body composition is different. Their goals are different. So no two plans should look alike. And if they do, why? Right? And there are coaches out there that are all about how many clients can I get on my roster to make some money, but doing it the easiest way, right? And that's simple. Give everybody the same plan. And I've had clients when I've done onboarding calls that have come from cookie cutter coaches, or they come from coaches where they feel like they're just a number, or coaches that don't communicate, right? Or they won't hear back after like a week, and it's like, what? What do you mean you haven't heard from your coach in a week? This is crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of coaches out there that will copy and paste, and it's sad because some clients don't know any better. They don't know that they're getting a carbon copy of what, you know, someone else gets. In addition to that, it's the same thing as competitors, right? There are coaches out there that give all of their clients the same exact peak week protocol. And it's like, just because fish and an eighth teaspoon of salt works for Joe doesn't mean it's going to work for me, right? And it's just crazy. Like, the longer that you're in the space, the things that you see, and you're just like a fly on the wall. Like, what do you say? What do you do? Because you don't want to go on your story and throw people under the bus and tag them. Yeah. But at the same token, like, it's just crazy how they do it and they get away with it, you know?
Yeah. It's sad. It's unfortunate. I guess all we can do is help those people when they inevitably leave. But yeah, I was
without poaching though. Without poaching.
Yes, yes. It's interesting. I was listening to my friend Tommy, who's a coach, and he was talking about how, you know, he doesn't pay attention to other coaches. He doesn't say things about other coaches. And I was like, yeah, I think that's definitely like a great way to go. That's the high ground. Yeah. But at the same time, like, should we be calling these people out if they're hurting people? I don't know what the answer is. But yeah,
I think,
that's tough.
That's when we rely on Goob. Let him do the Lord's work.
Our hero. Yeah, that's a good point. So going back to your prep, thank you for going on that journey with me. So talk about the regional show. How did that go? How did you feel about it? Yeah.
Okay, listen, Mike, I swear, if I could pull up our conversation, it was so funny because he's like, dude, it's a regional show. It's a Michigan regional show. And I was more anxious to get on that stage than I was for Universe. Like, I think it's because I wasn't on stage for over a year, and I hadn't done a regional show. So I've only done one regional show initially, which was in 2020, and then I didn't have to do one since because I always was in the top 5, so I already qualified nationally each national show that I did.
Yep. So
when I had to do it, I was like, I don't even know how this goes. Like, they're ran completely different. Like, they're a lot, smaller. They move a lot quicker. I literally didn't even get a hotel because the venue was at a high school that was like 25 minutes from my house. So literally just drove from my house that morning, got on stage, knew that we already qualified, so I just got to go back home and kind of hang out, take a little nap, and go back, get my medal, and literally right back to it the next day. It was June 8th, so it was about 4 weeks before we had to do Universe.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny. I had the opposite attitude going in, which I shouldn't have, which was this year, oh, it's just a regional show. I'm going to crush it, like, whatever. I mean, I wasn't that cocky, but I was like, this isn't the show that matters. So I was very relatively chill about it. And I lost even after winning my show last year. And I was, 10 to 12 pounds heavier. And, you could argue I was bigger and leaner than the guy that won, but he had a
Yeah.
smaller waist, and it's classic. But I ended up beating him by a lot at North Americans. So that was kind of redemption, but I was very
Yeah.
upset not winning my regional show this year.
It was just funny because Mike was like, dude, it's literally a regional show. And honestly, as crazy as it sounds, I had the best sleep I've ever had the night before Universe.
Wow.
I literally had a great week. Travel was great. No nerves at all. I woke up and like blasted some music in the morning and was like dancing, getting ready because I straightened my hair, right? Like Mike was like, dude, you're literally one of the calmest athletes I have ever worked with. Like this is crazy. No stress, no anxiety, no, just chill as a cucumber. Which is crazy because you would think it'd be vice versa, like you said, it's for like a regional show. But yeah, the peak week for Universe was like just another day to me. It was wild.
And talk about the show day. How did it go down?
Yeah, it still had, I swear, like it has not resonated. So like when people are like, oh my gosh, you're an IFBB pro, what's it feel like? I forget because I'm like, you're right, I am. Like this is crazy that we finally achieved that milestone, right? But yeah, show day, it's actually funny. I got to sleep in because Mike was like, get the latest tan you can. We ended up using a private tan company for the very reason to be able to sleep in a little bit. I had my makeup artist even like schedule me a little bit later, so I think I got up at like 9:30. It was like later in the morning.
Cool.
Went to the hotel to get my tan. Went and got my makeup done. Ate a little bit. Was just hanging out in my room. Went to Mike's room, which it worked out great because his room was one floor up and literally like right above me. Oh. So it made it super easy to check in with him because all check-ins we did were in person.
So you just rappelled down after you checked in with him?
Yeah, literally. Like I just did the stairs because it was right there. Like as soon as you walked out my door, the stairs were there, up one flight, and then walk out, and we were literally right above each other. It was crazy.
Were you at the Teaneck Marriott or the other venue? The other.
It was right next door.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was literally like walking distance, which was perfect too, because we literally didn't have to Uber or anything. We just walked right over for check-ins and the actual show. It's crazy. So like we get there for prejudging, right? Mike's backstage with me. I'm literally hanging out. Like I find there was no room. Like this, honestly, out of all of the national shows that I have done, this was the tightest, most packed backstage I've ever been to. Like, it was like packed like sardines. There was literally nowhere to go. People were sitting on people were standing. I found this little spot. I looked at this girl. I was like, you care if I like set up shop? She's like, no. I literally shake out my little blanket, just chilling. Mike comes and sits there. We're just shooting the shit. Like, it's just, like I said, just another day. Wasn't nervous at all. Got lined up. Pumped up, got my touch-up tan, and you could see the nerves in everybody else's face. I'm sitting here talking to the girl next to me. It's her first show. Like, we're becoming best friends backstage, right? Like, that's what it's all about, making friends. And we go on. I did my individual, we did comparisons, which was just like the regular. They didn't move you around, right? Then I did my individual. That went great. They called us out, I think, I don't know, I want to say I was one of the first numbers that got called out for the first call outs. I started in center and never moved. And the whole time we're going through the quarter turns, I could just feel like the adrenaline rush because I'm like, holy shit, like, is this it? Like, am I really not moving? Because for nationals in 23, I was splitting center the entire time. They moved me at the very end. We went through like 2 of the 4 quarter turns and we signed off, and I ended up in 3rd, and I was like, yeah, it stung to like hear my number get called.
That's exactly what happened at my regional show this year, by the way. I came out and was in the center for 90% of the time, And then they switched us at the last second, did one pose, and then walked off, and I got second.
That's pretty much what we did. And that time, Don was like, "Nah, dude, you got third." And I'm like, "Sweet!" Like missing my pro card by one spot, and that's what drove me my entire 2024 into like this last prep. Was like how I felt that day getting third versus going pro, right?
Yeah.
But it all worked out because had I gone pro at that show, I would have gotten second place, right? And the goal is to win the class, get that first place, pro card, earn it.
Yeah.
Not that you don't earn it in second, but
Yeah.
it's just different, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, when I walked off stage after prejudging, when I didn't move, so we came on from, if you're facing the stage, we came on from the left, walked off from the right. The second my foot hit that step, like, my smile, I was beaming because I was like, holy shit, did that just happen? Like, what just happened? So I'm trying to walk as fast as I can in my heels, right? Like, behind the stage, going through all these people in the pack sardines to get my bag in the very back corner to then come out and see Mike and Dave. Taylor was there. Braden Miller was there. Brandon, that does the photography, he was there.
Yeah.
I come out to them, they're all standing there looking at me like, dude, like, you did it. And I'm sitting here in disbelief. I was like, did I just go? Did I go? Like, I had no words. And Mike's like, yeah, dude, like, you're going fucking pro. And it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me. And I'm panicking. I'm like, did I get first? Did I get second? And they're like, no, dude, you got first. And then I'm like, I don't know. I'm sitting there like wondering, like, regardless that I went pro, did I get first or second? Was all that was going through my mind. They're like, dude, without a doubt, like, you totally got first. So we went back for finals, and again, Mike and I were just hanging out backstage. Went through another pump up, and then we lined up. The top 5 lined up on the side, and they called, 5th, 4th, 3rd. They called second, and I was like, that's not my number. So that's when it, like, hit me. And then that phrase that everybody, like, dreams to hear is when they say, and new, IFBB Pro, and they say your name. And I'm surprised I didn't, like, fall to the ground or, like, black out. I think I blacked out a little bit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still doesn't feel real because it's been so long that we've been gunning to go for it, right? Like, since the first show in 21. So, yeah.
What was going through your head when they did call you? When you came back
I don't know.
from blacking out.
I was
when you
say,
came to.
Like, when I came to life, I ended up picking my card up to, like, take my photo. It's this photo right here behind me. Or if you can see it, like, holding it over my head. And I set it down, and I just felt like jello. That's when the nerves set in, which was weird. Like, why are you nervous? You just went pro. So, like, walking off the stage, like, just shaking. Like, I just think it was just the overwhelming adrenaline. Yeah. I don't know. And, like, the excitement. Like, I felt like I went skydiving. Like, oh, this is crazy. I was just in disbelief. And then I got my bag and all my stuff, and everybody was out there just, like, ready to, congratulate me. And yeah, it was, that's like a moment that I wish everybody could just experience, because it goes so fast, but, like, I'm still reliving it rent-free in my head.
What did it feel like in the days and weeks after the show? Like, did you have moments where it kind of felt more real, or was it, like, just slowly, like, this isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real, and you starting to feel it?
It's still, it's honestly, like, it still hasn't set in. It's weird to say. Like, I'll wear, like, I have a shirt and, like, some hoodies that say IFBB Pro. And people are still congratulating me because I rotate between 3 different gyms that, like, still haven't seen me, and they congratulate me, and I'm like, for what? They're like, didn't you go pro? I'm like, oh, I did. Like, I almost downplay it in a sense, and it's not something to be downplayed, but I just...
Yeah.
It's like when someone gives you a compliment and you don't know how to respond.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know if it will truly resonate and set in until I do my pro debut. I think
Yeah.
that's when I'll realize that I'm a pro. Because right now, I'm back to the bottom of the barrel, right? Like, I'm starting
Mm.
all over. I'm fresh meat, right? Like, I'm at the I'm the low man on the totem pole because I'm just now a pro.
Yeah. Um, yeah, a lot of people say that it doesn't set in until you do your pro debut. But I'll say it. It may not mean anything coming from me, but you did do it, and you should be very proud. You absolutely crushed it. And I hope you get some sense of feeling like you earned it and feeling really proud before you step on stage as a pro.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I will say that at the end of the day, I love the hype, right? I love all the kudos and the congratulations and people that I don't even talk to that are like, I've been following your journey for years, and it's like, oh my gosh, like that gives me goosebumps because it's like you don't know who's watching, right?
Yeah.
And the people that said like I've motivated them or inspired them to go after something for so long and not give up, to finally achieve what I've been working so hard for. But the one thing that I hate is when someone says deserved, because nobody deserves anything, right? Like I will die on my little hill that I earned it, that I put in the blood, the sweat, the tears, and the work to earn something, right? Earned, not given, is how I look at it. So,
I really like that. And speaking of earned, not given, you uh, posted a lot about your reverse coming out of the show. You talk
mhm.
about your approach to that and some of your theories around reverse dieting.
Yeah, I will say that the reverse is, I'm sure most people can attest to it. I'm sure you could probably attest to it. The reverse is probably the hardest part of the process. It's harder than being in a surplus in an off season. It's harder than the prep itself. Like, because your body is so vulnerable at that point in
Hmm.
time. There's a lot of emotions going on, whether you won or you maybe didn't get the placing that you were looking for. And this wasn't my first reverse, right? I did what? Four reverses prior to that, and every single one, trash. Dom will tell you, Mike will tell you, I ate like an asshole. I ate my feelings, especially after Nationals getting third. I was that person that was up 15, 20 pounds within the first 2 weeks.
Mm.
And there's no coming back from that, right? Like, sure, a little bit of it's water weight, but like once you've done the damage is done. Like, all you can do is try to clean things up from there. This time, though, it was different, and I don't know if it was different because I went pro, right? And I achieved the ultimate goal for this show, or it's because I remembered how I felt in my other reverses, how my energy wasn't there, my sleep was trash, my mood was trash, my lifts were trash, everything was trash because of how I ate. And I knew I didn't want to feel like that,
Mm.
so I just stayed and followed the plan to a T. And I don't know if it was a combination of that or if it was like my first reverse with Mike, and I was like, I gotta impress this guy. Or if it's like I'm the the low man on the totem pole, but I'm a pro now, and I need to
Yeah.
act, live, sleep, eat, breathe like a pro. I can't have a trash reverse because that's only going to have a negative impact on when my pro debut comes about. But I'm very keen on it that if you truly follow your reverse to a T, everything falls into place. My sleep's been great, my mood's been great, my energy's been great. Like I said, my blood work is literally perfect. Um, I only lost one menstrual cycle, and that was
Wow.
in between the two shows, which was about 4 weeks. Literally, I think the third, maybe 4 week mark of my reverse, it came back. That's never happened. At one point, I went almost a year without a period, um, which some may think it's great, but honestly, that's not great. That means your hormones are tanked, right? Um, but yeah, I'm a firm believer if you truly check all of the boxes, have your little bit of fun. Like, sure, I had my post show dinner. Um, post-show dessert. We went to, I can't even think of the cookie place. Doesn't matter. Literally the next day I was right back to my plan. Like that Sunday, right back to it. Or that Saturday, sorry, because I competed on Friday. Sunday was back to it, and then didn't skip a beat. Mike gave me, I want to say like the 3rd week mark or the 4th week mark on my reverse. Mike was like, hey, you get 1 free meal a week. But before, it was 1 free meal, just replace a meal, call it a day. Now, it's 1 free meal, but track that shit. And if you got to replace 3 meals, you got to replace 3 meals, right? So I think that's helped a ton too.
Cool.
Yeah, I would say the reverse. And a lot of people that I follow that are also going through reverses, I've seen them tank it, and I'm like, I don't want to look or feel like that person. And I know what they're going through mentally and how they're struggling, and then just the body image and the bloating and, you know, everything that comes with it. I knew I did not want to look or feel like that. So I really just, again, put my blinders on, didn't focus on what anybody else was doing, only focused on what Mike was telling me to do and following that to a T.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you nailed it with the word vulnerable. It's such a vulnerable time for people, physically, emotionally, hormonally. Interestingly enough, it has been the easiest point in all my bodybuilding for me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, like prep is hard just because it's prep.
Yeah.
Off season for me is, especially at the peak, it's pretty miserable, and it gets pretty miserable pretty fast because I have to get up to like 7,000 calories. And I'm not that big. Like, yeah. But like since the show, just like you, I had dinner, and then back on plan the next day, and I've been 100% since. And we're, I don't know, 3 weeks ish post North Americans, and I'm up 19 pounds, and I'm already at 5,500 calories, and Dom keeps adding food. So it's just been like awesome because I'm not hungry, but I like look forward to my meals. I'm not forcing food yet. And
Yet is the key word.
yeah, I'm just gaining weight and getting stronger in the gym and like not hurting myself and having a great time and seeing awesome progress. So it's been definitely the easiest point of my entire bodybuilding journey.
Yeah, I'd be curious to do a poll and see what people say, because everybody's going to have a different, you know, response, whether I said, you know, as we just said, whether it's the prep or the reverse or like your off season. But it's interesting to hear like your perspective, right? Because me, I will say too, like off season, which I got up to, so on stage I was, I think 133 is what we ended at, show day morning. And then the peak of my off season, I think I got up to like just over 170.
Wow.
And I was not eating 7,000 calories, but I think we were at just over 3,000. It was like between 3 and 3,500.
Okay. It's a good amount.
Just under 400 grams of carbs. Yeah. And the hardest part for me was that I've never carried that much weight, and I was having really bad foot issues, really bad foot pain, to where at one point in time I could not walk down my stairs at night. I had to butt scoot. It was that bad.
Ooh.
Yeah. So like that part obviously was hard. But I would say just from a mental take, I would say reverse is probably typically the hardest.
Yeah.
Except for this past reverse was smooth sailing for me because I just followed the plan.
Nailed it. Yeah. Yeah, I think most people would say the reverse is definitely the hardest. And definitely I can relate to all the physical ailments of being large. My body wants to be 180 pounds for sure.
Yeah, it's a struggle. I'm like, dang, what? That's also why I started implementing all the different recovery methods to see like what I could do to mitigate that. And then I just posted, I think yesterday or the day before, that Mike and I are kind of testing the waters with a handful of different peptides, just to see like how we can really optimize recovery even more than we already did this last season. So
yeah, I'm sure that'll pay dividends going forward. And what are the goals for next year going forward with the pro debut?
Yeah, so we don't have shows picked out just yet, but the tentative plan right now, we're just now ramping things up. So to go into like a growth slash off season right now, um, all through, so finish 25, most likely all of 26. We may pull the trigger and do a show at the end of 26, but I think ideally the goal is to do some shows beginning of 27.
Okay.
With the thought, as crazy as this sounds, because I can say it now, but with the thought to qualify for the 27 Olympia.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy too, because now they have the point system.
Yeah.
So to see like how that pans out, but yeah,
Is that for wellness as well? I thought it was only
yeah,
for. Oh, okay. For some reason, I
yep,
thought it
wellness.
was only bikini for women, but yeah,
No, I think
interesting.
it's bikini wellness.
Men's physique, classic.
I think there's another. Is it figure maybe? I don't know if figure's on there. I know fit model is still the old system. If you win a pro show, you qualify. Which,
Yeah.
to me, I don't know how I feel about like how they picked in shows what categories go which way, because
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a ton of fit model competitors and there's going to be a ton of bikini. I don't think bikini's in the new point system, is it?
I thought it was.
Oh.
I thought they basically did it based on how many competitors there were at the Olympia, and
Oh,
there
maybe
are
that was
definitely a
it.
lot of bikini competitors.
Yeah, they definitely need the point system.
Yeah.
But I feel like fit model though may be, I don't know, maybe they'll migrate that after they actually have them in an Olympia, because they're not going to be in the Olympia this year. I think that starts next year for fit model, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Let me see. No, it's those four: classic physique, men's physique, bikini, wellness.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it
I
is
mean, I'm all for
interesting.
it. I'm all for it.
It is interesting how they like picked and classified shows. Um, I like have talked to people about what they should do to change to make to solve the problem of too many competitors at the Olympia. And
Yeah.
an idea I've heard tossed around, I don't know if I said it or someone else, was having semifinal shows. I feel like that would be really exciting. Like you qualify at one show, and then everyone who qualifies does semifinal shows, and like maybe the top three or top two at a semifinal show go to the Olympia. I feel like that would be a little more exciting than the way they ended up doing it, but obviously logistics would be pretty tough.
Yeah.
Like who gets to be a semifinal show? How do you space them throughout the year? All that. So I think the points is good. It'll be really interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah. I guess the only like negative thing from the point perspective, and I think someone made this argument too, is as you know, as I know, competing's not cheap, right? Most
Yeah.
people aren't sponsored by, every single company that they need, from suit to supplements to, fitness wear, whatever. And some people can't afford it. And it's like, you might have an amazing physique and you belong on the Olympia stage, but if you can't afford to rack up those points, right? Or, win the Arnold, then it's kind of like you're SOL.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's insane how expensive this sport is.
Yeah, I don't even want to add up what I've spent since I started. I could
Yeah.
probably pay a couple mortgages at this point.
Yeah. Be in a different tax bracket.
Yeah,
Well,
for
Chelsea,
sure.
this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I know how valuable your time is, but I really enjoyed it. I think the audience will absolutely love it. Where can folks reach you if they want to work with you for coaching or if they want to follow along with your journey?
Yeah, I think social media, probably Instagram's probably the quickest way to find me.
Cool.
Instagram, Facebook, yeah.
Awesome. I'll have a link to your Instagram. It's Chelsea_Fell. And thank you again, Chelsea.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Of course.